Hello, hello, hello. This is Charles of the God Principles, and this is
William.
how y'all doing? We have a great story for you all. The topic for this one is against all odds. And it's about coming to the Philippines. The obstacles that arose out of nowhere. You want to get started, William?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the God Principles. I appreciate Charles inviting me to be on his show again. And our subject is talking about the against all odds. And usually, once you make up your mind to do something, and you've truly got your mind made up to do it, you believe that God is directing you to do that. A lot of obstacles are going to come up. It's never going to be easy to accomplish the things that you truly believe you want to accomplish. And in coming to the Philippines, that we've both been here about a year, there certainly were obstacles before I left, and I'm sure before Charles would tell you before he left. Fear, just fear of the unknown. What other people, other voices, what people are telling you, you're going to get kidnapped, or
What was your worst story?
they're going to rob you, they're going to kidnap you. Then you watch the movies, all these things. Are you're not going to be safe?
Excuse the noise. We're sitting out here in the area, so you just have to tolerate the noise. It'll stop in a minute. But the worst story I had when I told people that I was going to do this, I was at my job, and they came out to work talking about. One lady came and said, "I had a dream that you were going to die." She came to my office sharing this story, and I'm listening to her, and I'm saying, okay. She talked about how she had heard stories of men coming to the Philippines, and then they were getting killed and all that stuff. But I had to remember that I was being divinely guided, as a member of recovery. And William's the same. We'll share that in a different video, but I've survived against all odds, against a lot of things that killed everybody else. So knowing that, and knowing that I was being divinely guided to come here, you go ahead and tell you. I got another story that took me to get here. It took a big story to get me here. It did.
Yeah, I agree. I think that anytime that you're ready to make a shift in your life, or a drastic change, as coming 8,500 miles onto the other side of the world, which we did in the Philippines, is a drastic change in life. And it takes planning, it takes discipline. Most of all, it takes prayer. Once you make that decision, you prayerfully make that decision, and you believe that God has given you that open door, which I did, then you start making your plans. But it's not to say that along the way, when you're making your plans, obstacles are going to come up. Always a fear. There's fear involved with anything that's new, that you're going to try to do something that everybody maybe hasn't done. I mean, just the fact of getting on a plane and riding for 16, 17 hours is a new situation. I'd never done it. So, you had to face that fear. You had to, what am I going to do with my house? Or what am I going to do about my loved ones? These kind of things. So in my case, I had determined that I was going to come over for 3 weeks in the beginning. I think that was 2019, and take a exploratory trip. So that's kind of how I dealt with my fears in the beginning. It was one of those things, I'm going to go see.
Well, in my case, having to get rid of all my stuff, and there was some real divine guidance that occurred. Like, I was worried about, I had a car and I had to get rid of it. It was a Honda Civic. And I went and I found out I could sell it back to the dealership. They paid me more money for the car than what I paid for it. You see what I'm saying? And then I had all these other clothes, and I looked at where them clothes came from. I had been gifted by God. It's like I had hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars leather coat, and I probably didn't pay $200 for all of them, because everything that I had owned, God had gifted it to me when I came into recovery. But the biggest story was this. A friend of mine in recovery, he came and told me this story about a member who had gotten a divorce from his wife and had to sign over $1 million house and didn't get a dime out of it. It sounded traumatic. It's like, wow. But then he turned around and shared, right after he had signed over the house, he got a multi-million-dollar contract for his business. That's what convinced me to let that stuff go and come here, because that's like, for me to get that story at that time, that was a divine story, divinely guided to tell me, let that stuff go, I got something better for you. And I'm seeing that that plays out true here. Got a lot of great stories. You got something else?
I think that, you know, you have to, as we talked about before, I think it was on another episode, you have to figure out what your plan is. Why are you going to the place you're going to? And once you figure out your why, you can figure out the how. A lot of times you have to figure out, my why was that the fact I was over 65 years old at that time. I was just getting ready to retire. And so I figured I would take an exploratory trip to see if this would be, you know, everything that I had heard about. I watched videos about it, the Philippines. I was looking for a warm weather climate, which this is. I was looking for a place that I could kind of like relax. And this all fit the bill. I had met a woman online I wanted to go meet. And so I figured that an exploratory trip, which I did 3 times. And then by the time I came back and the pandemic, that's another story, was over, I then had decided I was going to move here. And that took just some more planning, but I already had made up my mind that that's where I wanted to be.
Yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed this story. We appreciate it if you click like, subscribe, comment put comments in if you got any questions for us to answer. We have a lot more content going from William and Charles. William, what's your channel?
Junie Lai and Williams Adventures.
Junie Lai and Williams Adventures. They do a lot of travel logs. The fact that it's, you know, a couple living in the Philippines. He's married to a beautiful Filipino woman, and it gives you the real life stories of what's really going on in the Philippines. My name is Charles Davis. I want to thank you for watching.